This meeting is being recorded.
Yes, I'm here. I'd like to welcome everyone back on our continued quest to contribute to building a culture of empathy. As a reminder to everyone, all the facilitation trainings are recorded, and this particular cohort is being recorded today for educational purposes. We'd also like to go around and do a really quick check-in to take about 30 seconds to share some of the possible topics to share in 30 seconds is how did your empathy buddy call go? Or if you have any questions or comments from the last session, or if you have a short report on any empathy circle that you facilitated over the last week. And so I'm going to go around and call on everyone. And again, as a reminder, be mindful of the time. And Elizabeth Forrester, would you like to start?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I had a really wonderful buddy call with Linda Bass. I was glad to have somebody who was a trainee or a trainer, because I did have a lot of questions and she was tremendously helpful to me. So that was great. I also did a circle, but it was the buddy call that really stands out in my mind. Thank you. Hi, Linda.
Thank you. Kara Wilson.
Hi, everyone. I had a fantastic call with Faith, and I have set up a 5-manager team to do a month-long empathy circle with pre and post assessments. So if anybody has a question that they would ask on an assessment that they think would be like really good for before and after an empathy circle session, let me know in the chat. Kate, that's my thing. Thanks.
Thank you. Dorothy, would you like to go next? Oh, Dorothy, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I had a good buddy call. It was with Linda Curry. And I did do a circle, and I'm glad that this week is a challenge, the challenge day, because it was challenging what I had. So it was a bit difficult. So I'm glad to be able to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Mitch, would you like to go next?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. I didn't do my buddy call this week. It's just my mornings are pretty busy, as are early afternoons, and with the time difference, I couldn't figure out when to do it. So I didn't reach out. The one I had the week before was rewarding. So I'm sorry I didn't get to do it, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Thank you. Anna, would you like to go next?
Yes, hi. Yeah, I facilitated an empathy circle, and it was good, but I also noticed that it was challenging, or more challenging than the previous one. And I also did that in Finnish this time, which is my native language. So that was an interesting comparison. Thank you.
Thank you. Catherine, who has the same name as my mom, would you like to go next?
What an honor. Hi, everyone. I'm not on mute, right? You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry, I had to jump in on my phone today. So yeah, I had a wonderful buddy call with Marion, and she was great at sharing how empathy circles are being used in an organization that she's active in called Extinction Rebellion. And I had a lot of personal interest in that as well. We just had a really great sharing. So I really appreciated the buddy call. I also did a empathy circle with some coworkers and friends of mine. And they were really curious about all of the details and all of the process. And I kind of trying to get them to also sign up as facilitators. But the session itself was, very eye-opening, especially since I've known these people for a long time. And we just noted how much the Empathy Circle kind of lifted out a lot more information about people than with normal ways of speaking with each other. So it was great.
Thank you. Arlene, would you like to go next?
Yes, I would. Hi, everybody. I had the most wonderful conversation with my empathy buddy, Altanya. We just couldn't get enough of each other, actually. And me being from Philadelphia, we had a lot to talk about since that's where Altanya lives. And she taught me so much. It was like having my own private therapist on the phone. She was just wonderful. And I'm so thankful that she was my buddy. And by the way, happy Valentine's Day to everybody.
Thank you, Arlene. It's always good to hear from Dallas Cowboy fans. Claire, you're next.
Did you say
Hello,
Larry? I think you
everybody.
said, oh, sorry.
Yes, so I had a body call with a son, and it was good to connect with somebody who's in a different part of the world to me. Although I found that I usually, when I go and do some kind of empathy circle, I usually tend to reach a place of real calm and where I feel connected, but I think I was very tired and finding it difficult to engage in the call, so I didn't manage to get there. But yeah, it's always good, even when you're tired and feeling a bit disconnected or discombobulated, to have a call with somebody else, I guess. So thank you. Anyway.
Thank you, Claire. Andrea?
Hi, Dwayne. I haven't had any buddy calls, except I've thought about it a lot, but I haven't fitted any in yet. I do have a question, and I want to know if this evening I can video myself on my phone when I'm talking. Would that be all right? Because I am still in the same place waiting to be somehow to be able to make a video, allow myself to make a video of myself. I can have other people do it when it's natural here and coaching, but that's all.
Edwin, would you like to respond?
I can give you permissions to record if you want to try that.
Thanks very much. It's just I can do it to join in and be for other people, but this would help me. Thanks, Edwin.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Edwin. Faith, you're next.
Or can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. Yes, I had a wonderful buddy call with Cara. We really connected on so many levels, and yes, it was a great experience. So thank you.
Thank you. Jeremy, would you like to go next?
Sure, thank you. Yeah, good morning, everybody. I had a lovely call with Celine on Tuesday. We connected super quickly, and so that was great. And we talked way longer than the 30 minutes. So I really felt like we both were able to support each other and kind of just connect on all sorts of different topics. So very grateful for that. Thanks.
Thank you, Jeremy. Karen? you like to go next?
Thank you, Dren. Yes, I had this beautiful body call with Alexandra, and that was really refreshing because that was her second empathy circle. But she looks like she had all the quality to be a very good facilitator. That was really refreshing to have this call with her. We were able to talk very deeply about personal things. Yes, we showed our vulnerability that creates this sense of connection. So thank you for this experience.
Thank you, Karen, and thank you for introducing the next speaker. Alexandra, would you like to go next?
Hi, everyone. Morning. Yes, so to kind of add on, I had a buddy call with Karen. We spoke for about 30 minutes, and it was very enlightening, and it was just a humbling experience to share a lot of information that was both alive for us, but then also that was past for us too.
Thank you, Alexandra. Valerie, would you like to go next?
Hi, everyone. I didn't actually get any homework done on Empathy Circle this week because I have a midterm and a paper due. So unfortunately, I didn't, but I did put a call out, and I was very surprised for the 1 hour that no one was interested. People inquired about what it was, but I'm not sure if they were intimidated to be listened to for an hour. Maybe, they began to sort of overthink it, but I did get likes, like I just put it on Facebook, and inquiries, but to no bites. So I'm going to keep trying that one because I think that one will be a lot of fun. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie. And just as a reminder to everyone, there's a list also of trainers and trainees who are available for extra buddy calls if you need someone for a buddy call. Trevor, you're next.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's good to be here today. I actually didn't do a buddy call. I did a small empathy circle. So it was really good, and hope to continue to learn more and get better.
Thank you, Trevor. Tracy, would you like to go next?
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, I had a buddy call. It was very enjoyable. And I also did the Empathy Circle with a group that I attend weekly. And I got some useful feedback for that, which I will be using today. Thank you. I'm complete.
Thank you, Tracy. And I think I covered everyone. So I will turn it back over to Anne, I believe.
I think we're going to feedback next, aren't we? So that's Lou and Celine.
Okay.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, so this is the section of the check-in where we respond to the questions that people posted in their post-sessions feedback form. And there are a lot of people did the feedback form and posted questions. So very grateful for that. And so Celine and I are going to take turns answering those questions. So the first one, it was a question about what do you do when a participant won't stop talking? So the speaker, it's their turn to speak, but the time is up for them and they just keep going. They won't stop. And so a couple things I would suggest. One would be first to remind people at the beginning of the empathy circle the things that you will do as a facilitator, like if the person doesn't stop talking, that you will give a time signal, and if the person doesn't stop, notice the time signal or stop, then you will, you're going to interrupt them. And by saying the things that you're going to do as facilitator, like reminding people to pause, reminding speakers to pause, giving them time cues, reminding people that they're just supposed to be reflecting back what they're hearing, not giving advice. Or so by saying that you're going to do that, then when you do it, you'll feel A, like you have more permission, and B, it won't be so shocking to people when you do it because you've told them what you're going to do. So that's the first thing, is to tell people something. The second thing is to, in terms of the time cue, to tell people how you're going to cue them on the time. So I use a timer that makes an audible signal so people can hear that. That way I don't have to say something, they can just hear it. But sometimes people won't hear it also because of Zoom. Sometimes the audio in Zoom doesn't come through. And so I also will have a visual cue of some kind. I hold up my phone because that's what I use as a timer. Some people have a little sign that says time. If you do use a visual cue, make sure that when you hold it up until you see the speaker notice it. Because if you don't look for that, you may hold it up and they may not see it at all. And then the last thing is, if you do all that and they're not stopping, you have to just break in with your voice and say, that you may not have seen the time cue, your time is up, please finish what you're saying and move on. So Celine, do you have anything to add to that?
No, you think
Okay.
you covered it. Thank you, Lou.
Okay, next question, which Celine is going to take, is what do you do if someone in the circle starts giving advice or breaks in some other way when it's not their turn, when they're a silent listener? What do you do about that?
So what I have found that's been effective is to remind people of their role. Please keep to your role as the silent listener. Something along those lines. So, which avoids like criticism or anything that might seem like shaming, using the roles in that way. And then I sometimes also bring in the values. We're wanting to give everybody equal opportunity to speak and be fully heard. That's equality, for example. So those are some of the things I've done.
Yeah, that's great. And I'll just add to that, you can also let them know that they will have it when they're the speaker, they'll have a chance to say what they want to say. Okay, next question was about when someone who's a reflector. What if the reflector is not really reflecting back what the person's saying, or not really using the person's words? So it was really a question about, should a reflection include the person's words? Should it just be like a repeating back of their actual words, or should it be a paraphrasing of those words? And my experience with that is, it really depends on what the speaker wants. Some speakers really need to hear some of the words that they said in order to be satisfied that they were heard. Other speakers actually can be sensitive to, if you just repeat back exactly their words, they feel like you're being a parrot. So I think as the listener and as the facilitator, you need to just pay attention to, is what the listener is doing, does it seem to be satisfying to the speaker? Are they feeling heard by it? And if not, you as the facilitator noticing, do you think the speaker needs more of their words reflected back? And if so, you might mention that to the listener. Yeah. Or yeah, if there's other dissatisfactions going on, then trying to recognize those as a facilitator and maybe adding those things as a facilitator, like saying the things that are missing. Eventually, if the speaker gets frustrated, that you would add those things as speaker that are missing, so that they would hear them. Okay, next question was about doing empathy circles with youth. How to do empathy circles with youth? Is there anything special that people should know? Celine, you want to take that?
Well, I would guide you over to our expert, Bill Filler, who has a lot of experience working with youth, and has a call on Thursday mornings. So I think we have a good resource there. And that's my best suggestion.
Bill, do you want to say any one sentence about something special with youth?
Yeah, the attention spans can vary greatly among even adults. You know, think about breaking it down. And I talk about that on Thursdays, you know, make it shorter, that sort of thing. That's it.
Okay. Another advice I've heard from people that have done work with youth is to, as quickly as possible, turn over control of the circle to them. Give them the instructions and the rules and let them conduct it. And you can help guide them, but try to give them control. Okay, next question is about how do you close a circle where some very emotional stuff has been shared? Is there a way that something that should happen in a circle like that to bring it to a close? And I would just say, you know, as a facilitator, try to make sure that everyone has a chance to speak. You know, if something very emotional has happened, then give everyone at least a little chance to speak about it. And then I'd say the other thing is just to acknowledge that, you know, a lot of strong emotion has been expressed here. You may have feelings about it, and that's fine. If you need to talk about it more, you know, find someone to talk about, or you could offer as a facilitator to stick around for anyone who has residual feelings that they may need to talk about a little bit. That's an offer that you could make. The other thing I'd say is that if you were in a circle with somebody who is very emotionally distraught and you think they might need professional help, that you have information available. You know, if you're doing it like in a local community, that you might have information about your local social services available that you could give to someone like that if you're doing circles in the public. Shalene, you have anything to add to that?
No, I like what you said, especially acknowledging that, yes, this was a very emotional conversation. I think it was very helpful.
We had another question about pronouns, using pronouns you know, people have certain pronouns that they want to be referred to. Celine, you want to talk about that?
Well, I think giving people an opportunity and bringing the topic up in the particular circle, yes. So giving people a chance to introduce themselves with the pronouns they want to have used with them would be a good way to handle that.
We had another question about how to remember to start the timer. And my only suggestion about that is, when I don't have one, actually, for me, the tricks are more, what do you do if you realize you forgot to start the timer, which happens occasionally. And what I do is I start the timer whenever I realize it. And then I just try to think how much time do I think went by. Also, I guess the thing that happens, it's happened for me, is there's a rhythm. You know, if you're taking 3-minute speaking terms, there's a rhythm that develops that you can feel. And so you can also judge what the time is. You can sense it. But other than that, I don't have any tricks for remembering to start the timer. Do you, Celine?
No, experience. I think it happens to everybody. And
Yes.
then eventually something usually clicks and then I remember.
Right. And the last question was about empathy circles and families, doing empathy circles with family members. Do you have any advice about that, Celine?
I haven't. Well, yes, I have 2 sons. I've done empathy circles with one and not with the other. I think it's a great idea. And I would start with a topic that's not highly charged and present it as kind of a fun thing to do and see how that works.
I think that's good advice. Edwin's had a lot of experience doing it with family. Do you have any additional words of advice, Edwin?
Yeah, it can be a challenge. You know, there's a lot of strong emotions in the families, but I think it's one of the best places to try out an empathy circle. And like Celine was saying, start off with the topic, you know, introduce it on a topic, something like, what's something that really great that's happened to you, you know, in the last month or 2 or something like that. So introduce the process, not right off the bat for conflict resolution, but on a positive topic. And then later it can move into really helping with addressing conflict. And I've done empathy circles with my 5- and 7-year-old nephews and nieces. So even little kids like that are able to do empathy circles.
The other little advice I'd add is to give the information about the process to everyone, so that you're not the only one that knows how it works and you're holding that, but like everybody knows about it. And so you all are doing it together. That's a good thing to do with family members. Actually, it's a good thing to do in any circle, but especially family members, so that you're not like the expert. Everyone knows how it works. Okay, that's the answers to the questions for today. And so, who's introducing the empathy circle topic for today? I can't remember.
Before we get into Valerie put in a question asking if that document will be shared with the Q&A on it, with the questions on it.
It's not. I'm not working from a document, so I worked from reviewing all.
The answers be shared in a document. I'm sorry, I said, will the answers be shared in a document? That was the question.
No, we're just speaking them. But there is a recording. This session is being recorded, so you could review that. You could listen to it again online. Dwayne.
And there's also a transcript that's available as well that you could copy if you choose to.
Thanks, Dwayne.
Okay, so now we're over to Larry, who will describe the breakout rooms for us.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Lou. So now we'll go into our breakout rooms. We'll give each one a time to practice facilitating a short empathy circle. The context is that you're facilitating an empathy circle with people who are not familiar with the practice. Remember, the facilitator will be the first listener. And if you're feeling ready for it, you can have facilitation challenges offered to you today. And you could request for no challenge, or a low challenge, or a medium challenge. We're not offering high challenges today. You do not have to have a challenge. Just if you're feeling ready for that. Challenges would be something like a silent listener breaks in and interrupts the process and wants to interject their ideas, or they may be agreeing with someone or disagreeing with someone. That's a challenge. Or a participant is objecting to the process and saying, you know, I don't like this way of communicating. That's a challenge. Another challenge would be typically like the active listener is not really reflecting what the speaker is saying. So that could be a challenge. So we'll set the topic and have 3-minute times, and we'll have a lot of fun. All right.
Okay, so we're ready to go into the rooms. A couple of people couldn't make it today, so 2 of the rooms only have 2 participants. So that will be with you, Larry, so they get extra time to facilitate, so they get the half the time. And Ralph, there'll be just 2 participants with you, and so you'll split the time in half. I'll try to give a 10-minute warning before we close. And anything else? Yeah, Linda?
Ralph and I will be in the same room facilitating, and we only have 2 other people.
No, you'll have 3 in yours. Ralph will have 2, and Larry will have 2, and the rest will be 3. And I'll be in a room with you, Bill. And we see Tracy. A quick question before we get in the room.
Did I miss what the question was when we get in the room?
Oh, the question, you can have the question be, you know, what are your feelings about any concerns about facilitation? So, or you can just bring up your own question. You'll be able to, you'll ask the question, you can use your own question or that one off the shelf.
Thank you.
Okay, here we
go. Overall time, how much?
We have an hour and a half for the overall time. So in your group, you'll be able to split that in half. In the other groups, each person gets about 30 minutes. Okay, here we go. And I'm here with you, Bill. And Andrea, I put you in this room, and this is being recorded, so you don't need to record. It'll be available. So just in case, it sounds like you're wanting to go back and check and look at it. So you'll be able to, you don't need to record.
Great, thank you.
And there's something else. This is also the wait room. So if people drop out, they'll come back through here, and I'll be routing them back to their room. So just give you that heads up. That's it. Thanks, Bill.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so welcome. And we've kind of done this a little bit differently. Usually I do the how-tos in session 2, and everybody does the how-to and review it. And then in this one, I ask that people do the how-to and go right into their session as it would be in a regular Empathy Circle session. So I realized that I just want to clean up. You might have done something different. You might still have some questions about the how-to. So I wanted to just put it out. Do you have any questions about the how-to before we go into it? Are there any things that have come up for you? All right. Okay, I'll take that as a no. Okay, so then what we will do here, we have an hour and a half actually. And so 3-minute turns. So as a facilitator, you will do the 3-minute turns, give people the warnings, and then please let me know whether you would like any disruptions from low to medium, and specifically if there's one type of disruption that you wanted to have practice on. And of course, you don't have to have any disruptions at all. Okay, is that pretty clear to people? Andrea, you look a little confused.
I would like some disruptions. I was just trying to think what kind I would like.
Okay. Sure. Okay. Take your time. All right. Any questions about what I said? And also, does anybody need a break before we get started? We're okay. All right. I'll try to check in. We have plenty of time here. I'm going to give you about 20 minutes, just as I'll be keeping a 20-minute time. So that would be an hour. So that gives us a little chance to debrief after each facilitation and get some feedback and things like that. And so who would like to start? So you'll be doing your how-to, and then you'll go right in, you'll introduce the topic, and then let me know if you want any challenges or if there's a specific type of challenge that you would like. So, okay, and will Isa be staying with us, or Isa? She just came in.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, let me just see what room you were in. Just saw that.
Okay.
I'll put you in with, you'll be joining Ralph. How do you do that now? I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, just let Ralph know you're coming a bit late.
Okay. All right. All right. So, Alexandra, Andrea, Jeremy, who would like to begin? And also if there are any questions or if I was unclear about it.
Yes,
Jeremy, thank you. I was about to start to sing the Jeopardy waiting music, so you saved everyone from that. Okay.
That would have been really cool. Yeah, so hi everybody, good morning. My name is Jeremy. So today we're gonna be.
Do you want any disruptions or?
I'm okay with like a low challenge, maybe something like start off small,
Okay, and is there any specific type of thing you would like?
No, I was actually gonna say that like the topic for this empathy circle is what kind of challenges are you concerned about? But
all right.
Yeah, whatever you got at me. I don't know. I'll see how it goes.
Okay, and you're ready to keep the time.
Okay, yeah, we got you.
So good.
Yeah, so hi everybody. I'm Jeremy. We're gonna be doing an empathy circle today. It's a very, very simple process, and I'd love to
just share how it works real quick before we get started. So basically in an empathy circle, there are three main roles. There's the speaker, the active listener, and then everyone else is a silent listener. So I'll be facilitating this circle today, just to make sure that we stick to the process and kind of adhere to the values of the empathy circle process. So basically the speaker, each speaker will get 5 minutes to basically speak whatever is on their mind to another participant in the circle who will be the active listener. And the active listener's job is basically just to reflect back what the speaker is saying so that they feel fully heard. Not to, provide any opinions or judgments or anything like that, but just to fully hear the speaker, make sure they're aware of that. And then everybody else in the circle, basically our roles will be to just be the silent listeners. So we'll just be there actively and silently listening to the speaker until it's our turn to speak. It's really important to point out that everyone will get a chance to speak and to listen to each other. So we really value equality in the circle. And so, yeah, I'm going to be keeping time for these 5-minute speaking periods.
3 minutes for this exercise. 5 minutes is usually better, but 3 minutes to give you a chance for the transition.
Great, thank you. So I'm going to be keeping time for these 3-minute speaking periods. And I have 2 signs here that are super handy. If your time comes up, I will put up this sign that says time. And that means that basically you can finish your last thought as the speaker. Then the active listener will then become the speaker and have a chance to have their turn to be heard. So, but also if you're speaking quite a bit and it's hard for the active listener to kind of remember everything that you're saying, I'll put up this sign that says pause, just so you can give them a little bit of time to reflect back to you, and then you can continue on with your thought. So a couple other things. If you are going on past your time, I may interrupt you with these signs, just to give you a heads up, so you're not startled. And at the end of your time being the active listener, it might be a good idea to ask the speaker if they feel fully heard. And when you're done speaking, if you do feel fully heard, that's a good way to indicate that it's the next person's turn to speak. So yeah, I think that's all I got to say. The topic for today is going to be, what are your concerns about doing empathy circles, or specifically about challenges that could come up with empathy circles. And I also just want to reiterate that this is a brave space. So, feel free to be vulnerable and say what's on your mind. You can also say whatever's alive for you if that is better. So I'll volunteer to be the first active listener if someone would like to speak first.
Jeremy, aren't you, I don't know, but aren't you supposed to, you could do, don't you, oh no, I'm wrong. So I'll come in and do something.
Great, I'm here. I'll be keeping time if you want to speak first, Andrea.
Thank you. I'm Andrea Spiridon, and I think the empathy circles are really important, so important that although I have something that I'm trying very hard to do, I still come along to the empathy circles, and therefore I'm pausing.
Okay, so I'm hearing that you're Andrea Spiridon. Pardon me if I mispronounced that. And you're here this morning to do the empathy circles that you find very, very important. And you're here to do something, but and that's why you're here. You're here for the empathy circle. Was there something I missed? I'm sorry.
I don't think you missed anything. So you, Jeremy, said this is a brave space, which was perfect thing for you to say, because messages that I'm getting a lot of are, it's quite embarrassing to say this, but it's time for me to show off in a way. When I was little, when I was young at some point, I was told to not show off, and that's so today today the Empathy Circle is my showcase.
Beautiful. So I'm hearing that you really liked what I said about it being a brave space. It's really important to you, and especially in the kind of context of how it's your chance to show off, and this is kind of a showcase for you to, just present yourself.
Thank you so much. I feel fully heard. I'm still fighting with the I'm still, I can't believe really that I have this opportunity. You're listening to me. That you're the only person that I can see on my screen, but some other really good people are listening to me. And it can be about what it is really can be. I can decide that can be helpful for me. Thank you.
Of course. So I'm hearing that you're feeling pretty heard, and that I'm listening to you. You can see me on the screen, but there's also a bunch of other really great people listening to you as well. And this is just a great opportunity for you to, be heard and acknowledged. Do you feel fully heard? I'm sorry if there's something.
Fully heard, Jeremy. Thank you very much.
Of course. So I guess it's my turn to be a speaker. Does someone want to be my active listener?
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So I guess it's Monday morning. I don't know if this is a bit off topic, but I'm just feeling kind of nervous. It's a new week. And I feel like I haven't done a lot of preparation for the week. So I'm kind of just jumping into the training right now, but glad to be here.
So to reflect back on what you said is you're feeling a little bit nervous. It's a new week. It's the start of the week. And you are glad to be here, but you did jump into this.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think that I'm trying to just work on accepting the mess in life and just kind of going with it. But I do feel like I need to spend some time after this just organizing my everything. That's kind of where I'm at. But it's great to be here, and it's great to be talking to some new faces, new people. So yeah.
So it sounds like you're wanting to organize what you have. You feel like you have a mess right now and you're trying to organize it. So
yeah, I'm also just trying to accept the mess, just kind of let things go a little bit, but that's hard,
So you're trying to accept the mess and just let things go, release.
Yeah. And I guess I am a little bit nervous about these challenges that could potentially come up with the facilitation. Yeah, and I'm not exactly sure if this is a challenge coming from Bill right now, but I guess I'm just trying to stick to the process, and I guess this is a learning opportunity. So even if I mess it up, I'm still going to learn something.
So this is a learning opportunity for you, and you're hopeful that you're still going to learn something by accepting the mess.
Yeah, and just by whatever challenges come my way from Bill or whoever, I think that I'll still, even if I quote unquote fail, this is a brave space, like we said. So I want to just reiterate that point to everybody that you can't really mess this up.
So despite some challenges that might come your way, you still want to demonstrate that you can move forward and like things can happen for you.
Yeah, totally. And I think this is a good opportunity to say that, Bill, you'll have your chance to speak in just a little bit and be fully heard. So maybe we can hear more about that, your opinion on failing in just a few minutes. I'd like to try to stick to the process if possible. Also, my time is up. So yeah, thank you, Alexandra. I feel fully heard. Yeah, awesome.
So I will go next. Bill, would you like to be my listener?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Thanks. Okay, so hi, my name is Alex, and right now I feel a little flustered and nervous.
So you said your name is Alex, and you feel a little nervous and flustered.
Yes, and the reason being is because there was lots of distractions on my end. And I don't know if it was because of the messages, but then also I think I'm the co-host. So I'm seeing more than what I should. There's lots of distractions right now, so I'm trying to remain focused.
Okay, so you're getting a lot of distractions right now, and one of the reasons might be because you're co-host, so you're seeing some other text and other things like that. And I don't know, but I'm not sure, but there might be something going on in your environment that's distracting as well. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, correct. And I want to be fully present here and participate in the empathy circles. But I felt a little off at first.
Yeah. So you want to be very present, but you feel a little bit distracted by all the things that are going on.
Yeah. So another thing that's something that's alive for me, or that I would see as a challenge, is these distractions. As a facilitator, how do I manage the challenges and distractions at the same time?
So one of the things that you're seeing is, and that you're thinking about, is how do you manage distractions when you're facilitating an empathy circle?
Yes, correct. And I want to make sure that I do it in an appropriate way to where I'm not overstepping, but also creating and maintaining that safe space and environment, including for myself.
So yeah, and so the sweet spot that you're looking for is to be able to set a limit, but to do it in a kind of warm way, a respectful way, and also respecting your own limits too.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. I feel fully heard.
Okay. All right, I'll talk to Andrea.
Hi, Bill.
Hi. Okay. I'm sort of the designated disruptor, and yeah, so I feel two ways about it. I feel like, whoa, I can go off, and the other way is that being a retired teacher, I don't like to disrupt, so that's what's going on for me.
Okay, so you've been designated as the disruptor, but since you've been a teacher, you don't like obstructing or disrupting.
Yeah, not destructing, disrupting.
Disrupting. I'm sorry for that Freudian slip there.
I don't want to destroy anything. And then one of the things in being perfectly transparent is that there's a fine line between, when you're having an empathy circle and when you're not. And then too many disruptions kind of can spoil the sort of process of the empathy circle. So I want to agitate the waters a bit, but I don't want to stop the process of the empathy circle.
So there's a fine line in this process of getting it just right with the training, but you don't want to disrupt the process of the empathy circle. and it's 5'9".
Yeah, yeah. And when we started this and we didn't, have it as structured as it is now, one guy started to threaten to kill me and burn my house down in the chat, of course.
So before, when you started and it wasn't as structured as this with rules, someone in the chat wrote threats to kill you and burn your house down.
Right. And so I tried to kind of shunt it off, but they were very persistent. No, I really mean it, even though we know they didn't, but for the purposes. And I didn't know what to kind of do with that. I'll stop there.
So he, even though you can say that he didn't really mean what he was saying, he was so persistent and said, no, I really mean it. And you didn't know what to do with that.
Yeah. And I didn't, so and to an existential sort of, development as to, when does an empathy circle break down? When do people disrupt it so much that it's not, happening,
Okay, so this is the end of yours. I've seen a sign, I don't know if you did. So I'm just going to help the process and just recap at the end of your go. When is it an empathy circle and when is it real life? Is that right?
Not real life. I knew it wasn't real life, but when is the process broken down to such an extent that what happens in the empathy circle no longer happens? When people don't have a chance to be heard because they're intimidated or something.
All right. So what I think you're saying that when is what you're trying to do getting in the way and stopping the process of the empathy circle really happening? When are your training techniques and things that you've been given as a role to do, it's tricky to know how to use them. You don't want to stop the benefits of the empathy circle. Is that right?
Yeah, it's tricky. Yeah.
All right, Bill, I think we're gonna have to wait till your next turn to speak to finish this thought. But thank you.
Sure.
Cool, Andrea. So now it's your turn to speak.
Thank you. So can I? Can I have Edwin as my listener, please?
Sure, listening.
So thanks, Edwin. I don't feel stressed. I feel there are lots of things going on, like, stuff that what you're doing, Edwin, with your politics, what Bill's doing with the young people, and there's Larry, who I'd like to speak to about poetry and things, and that other things, and that is just in the empathy. That's just in the best empathy circle.
Yeah, so I'm hearing you're feeling a little stressed and that everyone's doing different things. I'm doing political stuff, Bill's doing training, Larry's doing his, and it sounds like you're wanting to connect with everyone, or I'm not quite clear on that.
Well, that's nearly right, but I'm not feeling stressed. I'm happy and excited, really, and I'm interested and ready to learn. It's a mixture, but I don't feel that, you know, I don't feel anxious. I feel.
Sorry.
Please,
yeah.
please.
Yeah, so I'm hearing you're not feeling stressed, you're feeling more excited and interested in all these things that are happening.
That's right. And also going on for me is I'm trying to have a business, be like a solo entrepreneur, and with integrity, and yeah, so.
Yeah, so I hear you're wanting to start a business and be a solo entrepreneur and really have a sense of integrity when you do that.
Yeah, and I mean, I am in the small way that I can, you know, because I've only just started, you know, because I'm a beginner on social media. I've been promoting the Empathy Circle, and I've been promoting my Buddhist philosophy and practice, and haven't been promoting the myself much.
So maybe you're having some concerns that you've been promoting the empathy circles in your Buddhist practice, but you haven't been really promoting yourself in your business and your entrepreneur work. And I see that that's the time. Do you feel heard?
Yes, thank you very much.
Should we do the debrief? I see we're at the half hour, or?
Yeah, we're just about a little bit. So I was going to let you go and do that. That's okay. Do you feel okay? Well,
Yeah, I feel. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So Jeremy, okay, how did it feel and your experience?
Yeah, I think it was good. I definitely want to explain the roles in a different order next time I do that at the beginning, just so it's a little bit more coherent. But I feel like I definitely learned from last week's facilitation training and feedback, and like brought up some different points that about like interrupting and so on that I ended up having to bring up later last week. So it was nice to kind of like do a little bit better of a job with the how-to part in the beginning. I definitely at first thought you interrupting was a little bit confusing because I couldn't, you know, but I feel like I handled that pretty well. And the whole process went pretty smoothly. I liked how people kind of picked up on that. I had the sign up, and kind of like Edwin or Andrea was like, oh, I saw that the sign was up, and she kind of helped stick to the process. So that made it even easier for me. So yeah, I'm grateful for that. Yeah, I think it went well.
Great. So I'll just ask from Edwin, feedback for Jeremy.
Yeah, when it was very smooth, you know, you're very calm, and so you look like you really enjoy yourself. When Bill was writing in the chat, you corrected him. You know, you're saying, well, one thing I might have done is you were speaking with Alexandra at the time, and you could have said to Alexandra, when we should be, you know, being present here and not be writing in the chat. And then Alexandra could have given you a reflection on that. And so you would have been staying within the process to do your correction of him. So that kind of adds, it kind of adds some strength. Plus you would have gotten a double reflection. You know, you would have got a reflection on that. So that would have really, you know, then whoever's kind of doing the challenges, you know, they really would get the message. So that was the only thing. Yeah, in terms of the time, I saw Andrea and myself, we both, you know, were kind of catching the time. The sign could be a little bit bigger because it's hard to read. And when it goes up to the camera, it's kind of blurry. It's a little hard to know what that sign was the only thing. So I talk softly and carry a big sign. So that's it. Yeah, yeah, very well done.
Alexandra, feedback for Jeremy.
I have to say, I thought you did really well in redirecting. Even when I did get confused at times, I was like, wait a second, but I think you composed yourself really well in the facilitation part. And I have to agree with Edwin, at times when you held the sign, I forgot what the sign was. So when you were holding up your card, I was like, wait, what is this? Because it was a little blurry, but I thought you did really well. And there was something else I wanted to compliment you on, but overall, I thought you did well.
Andrea?
I think it went really well and smoothly, and I think Jeremy did really well. Personally, I think I don't really know when the problems are occurring.
Great. Okay. So Jeremy, so a few things. Yeah, the other thing you can do with chat is you can respond in the chat. And so therefore it doesn't take away from the focus. As a facilitator, I think you're trying to balance that. You're balancing when you intervene, then you stop the process, essentially. It's a bit of it's a disruption in itself. So as a facilitator, I'm always weighing, is this going to disrupt it more before I explain it, or should I just let it pass and then see whether it smooths over? Usually, I let it go as far as I can until, and hopefully it'll self-correct. But those are just some things. Really great. I loved your how-to. I love your demeanor. It's very calm. You didn't change when I, was disrupting. And then the two times that I really did plan to, disrupt you, both in the chat and then also going on for a long time, I thought your limit setting was really excellent. It was very matter of fact and stuff. And even more than that, I'll give you an extra kind of kudo, is that I was about to start to sing the Jeopardy. If you didn't stop me, I was about to start to sing the Jeopardy song, and you intervened before I got to that point. So you're really spot on. So I thought you did a very good job, and I'd be very comfortable in your facilitation of a circle. So.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I think the blurry thing was because I had my Zoom blurry background on.
Yeah.
That was good feedback. Thank you for that too. Appreciate it.
Yeah. When it's blurry, it doesn't always do it. Edwin has a thing. I have this very expensive handcrafted sign.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So anyway, so great job. Okay. Alexandria or Andrea, are either of you ready?
Okay, I'll go.
All right, Andrea. So you're going to do the how-to, introduce the topic. Would you like any disruptions or not? It's up to you.
Please.
You want to
Yes.
disrupt. Is there any particular type of disruption you want to practice with?
Well, I guess I always think I get things wrong, and I'm maybe touch of imposter. I don't know anything.
Okay, we don't need to. So low disruptions, and then however the muse takes me. All right. Okay, Andrea, if that's okay, low disruption, and then I'll do something like, whatever. And so are you ready to start? Do the how-to and then right into the circle. I'll start the time for you, okay? Andrea, you're frozen. It's not me because I can see other people moving. All right. Let's see. Okay. Oh, she's out. Okay. I'll come back in. All right. So we'll see about Andrea. Alexandra, do you feel ready to go?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So we'll go along. And any particular type of disruption or none or whatever?
Yeah, we could do low. I do have one question.
Sure.
Was me being the co-host part of this disruption, or that was an accident?
No,
That's an accident.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa, they really did it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The whole nother level. All right. So go right ahead, Andrea. Alexandra, sorry, my
It's okay.
apologies.
It's okay. So, hi everyone, my name is Alex, and today we'll be doing an empathy circle. An empathy circle holds 3 roles, which is the speaker, the active listener, and then the silent listeners. And then there's also a 4th role, which is a facilitator. So I will be actually hosting or be doing the facilitator role. So within an empathy circle, the main point is the speaker will choose a listener. Sorry, my headphone beeped on me. The speaker will choose a listener, and the speaker will, is this intentional? The speaker will be able to speak for 3 minutes, with the listener having to reflect back on what the speaker is saying. So with that, we'll be able to speak for 3 minutes on the topic of what's alive for you today, or any challenges that you face as a facilitator. Do we have any questions so far? No? Okay, great. So one thing I wanted to mention before going into it further is that with the speaker and the listener will be able to reflect back by only repeating back what the speaker is saying. We are not judging. We want to create a safe and welcoming space. So no judgment, no analyzing or detaching or sympathizing with the speakers. So it's just reflecting back to making sure that we all feel fully heard and understood. At the end, the speaker will ask the listener or the listener will ask the speaker if they felt fully heard, or the speaker can state to the listener that they feel fully heard before the time is up. So to start it off, I will be the listener, and would somebody like to be the speaker?
Sure, I'd love to speak.
Thanks. So go ahead, Jeremy. You could speak with anything that's alive for you today, or any challenges that you face with being a facilitator.
Yeah, thank you. So I don't know, I feel like so far this has been going pretty well. I think we're all our biggest critics. So like, even though I said I was nervous earlier, I feel like it went better than I expected it would. I'll pause there.
Okay. So I think for you, even though you were nervous earlier, you actually think that it went better than you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and I feel like my biggest challenge now with this whole empathy circle thing isn't doing it, but rather like learning how to do it in this like circle now, but rather like finding the time in my life to do it more with other people, because I totally believe in the power of the process. But I also know that in order to do more empathy circles, like in my community, I need to have my stuff together, like, you know, like my life in order. So I guess I'm just a little bit motivated to work hard so I can make more time to do empathy circles.
So it sounds like you're excited about empathy circles, but choosing a time and a space available is something that you're trying to figure out. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm just trying to make more time for it, because I think I don't know, and I've talked about this quite a bit, but I'm really interested in creating more empathy and compassion, or fostering more of that around the climate crisis, and especially in my on my campus with like just different students and faculty and different people that might not necessarily have these kind of conversations. I really want to bring people together in that way, and it just requires a lot of work. And so I need to do like my personal work in order to do that community work. And so I'm a little bit overwhelmed by like the total amount of work that I have to do. But, yeah.
So you're passionate about empathy circles and bringing people closer, but you're also overwhelmed at the idea of how much work it costs, but you recognize that you have to work on yourself first before creating those circles.
Yeah, totally. And I think that every time I talk to someone in my community about this, they're always really stoked, really excited about it. And on one hand, I'm really grateful that I can share the process with them, but on the other hand, it's almost like a reminder that I need to really work on myself in order to be that person in the community that can uplift others. So It's kind of like two-sided. Like I'm grateful, but I'm also like stressed by it. So I do a lot of meditation.
Sorry, my timer also went off, but I forgot it was on vibrate. So to kind of end it with and reflect back that you're kind of feeling overwhelmed, but you know that there was a part. I'm sorry, can you repeat the last part that you said?
Yeah, I just said like as I like get more people involved and like share the process with them, it's like great. I feel really happy about it, but I'm also just overwhelmed because it's a challenge for me to make sure I have my stuff together. And so I've been feeling overwhelmed. But that's why I do like a lot of meditation to help cope with that overwhelm.
Okay. So you're having a lot of mixed emotions, one being the powerful, overwhelming feeling, but you're very happy with being able to participate in empathy circles because you practice meditation as well.
Sort of, just to correct you, I feel like I'm grateful to share the empathy circle with people who haven't heard of it before, but it also overwhelms me because then I feel like it holds me to a higher standard of like my life. So I'm overwhelmed on that. Like I'm grateful on one hand, overwhelmed on the other hand. And I do the meditation to help deal with those like mixed emotions.
Oh, I apologize. So you're both overwhelmed but grateful, but you use meditation to help you cope with those two feelings.
Yes, thank you. I feel fully heard.
You're welcome. So now to start off, since I was just the listener, I've become the speaker, and now I get to choose a listener. So, Bill, would you like to be my listener?
Sure.
Awesome. I'm going to start my timer, and I'm going to put it on high this time. Okay. So for something that's alive for me today, what we brought up, or something that Jeremy spoke about earlier, and I was able to reflect on it, was that today is Monday. So it's the start of a new week, which actually brings lots of anxieties for me because I like to plan ahead.
So you were talking about what's alive for you, which is that today is Monday, it's the beginning of a new week, and that brings anxieties, and there's a lot to do. And I think I missed something there.
Yeah, I like to plan ahead a lot. So I like to categorize my days and have schedules.
Oh, so you're OCD and you like to plan your days.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm like that too. I just like everything really planned out, and so I really can identify with that.
So having OCD sometimes and wanting to plan accordingly comes with the school and having all the work that I have to do. So wanting to make sure that I complete my assignments on time.
Yeah, I'm not in school, but I just have a lot of work going on. So that happens with me all the time too. So yeah, I can really identify with that too.
It also makes me really anxious and unheard when other people speak while I'm trying to feel heard.
So it makes you anxious when other people are trying to speak while you're trying to be heard.
Yes. And then with that comes with school and trainings. That also makes me very anxious, which is why I like to plan ahead.
Mm-hmm. And so that especially is with all the time pressure, when you want to be heard, you want to be heard. And then, and if there's any sort of disruption to that, that also has a domino effect down the line with the other things you have to do.
Yes. And I think that's just because I know I can become easily distracted. Mm-hmm. So it takes extra energy for me to remain focused.
Yeah. And I know. Ooh, shiny. So you easily become distracted.
Yes, correct. Thank you. I feel fully heard.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to Edwin since he wants to
listening. Yeah, finally somebody's choosing me. Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay.
Really quick before we begin, I just want to remind everybody in this space that we want to make sure that we're remaining welcoming and we're not judging, and we're creating a safe space and environment for others to freely express themselves and feel fully heard.
Mhm. So, okay. All right. Now I kind of lost my train of thought for a second.
So I hear you're losing your train of thought.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of thinking about, what does an empathy circle feel like? I'll stop there for a second.
Yeah, you're just thinking about what the empathy circle feels like.
And what I mean by that is there's a certain emotional, feeling that one gets after one gets into the listening mode for a while. And there's a kind of an emotional shift. And I think that that's what people really react to, but we don't have the words to describe it. I'll stop there.
Yeah, so in the empathy circle, there's a shift that happens, and that there's not a vocabulary of words to really describe what that shift is.
Right. And so it's a sensed feeling. And that's about the art of facilitation, is a sense of how to apply the rules so that people can attain that sensed feeling, as opposed to going off and just pontificating about this or that, or talking about the political situation, or talking about the Super Bowl, or talking about the Jeopardy music, or talking about, petting my cat, or talking about, a whole bunch of other things that really can come up and become really disruptive. When I was a kid, I could, pay attention for a while, but, it didn't seem to matter. I was just sort of living in the moment. And now I'm just sort of becoming more aware of what I'm doing, how my being affects other people, and how that, how they react to that, and then how I'm perceived. Then I have to go into, and I judge myself. That's a tough one. And then also try to give myself some empathy and someone else some empathy. And everybody needs empathy. Yes. Thank God.
It kept cutting in and out for me, so
excuse me. Yes,
I'm glad
okay.
you kept moving your head, so that's how I knew you were talking.
Hmm.
But if you could please, and that's something that I forgot to mention, while talking as a speaker, try to have some pauses so it allows your listener to be able to reflect back what you're saying.
Thanks. Oh, I don't know. Did you get all that?
I forgot everything you said. Can you say it again?
Yeah. Basically, what I'm, actually reminds me of another famous thing President Kennedy said. A reporter asked him a very long question, and then he said, "Could you repeat the question?"
So this is reminding you of something Kennedy said, that the reporter asked this long question, then Kennedy asked him to repeat it. So that memory came back to you.
Right. And generally, the theme is the art of facilitation. The achieving balance in the circle.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So you're talking about the feeling that happens in the circle, and how facilitation is trying to sort of hold a certain type, or create a certain and hold a certain type of feeling. And you've just been sort of thinking about that.
Right. And then
that is actually time, Bill. Okay. If you'd like to hold that thought and feeling for your next turn.
Thank you, Alex. Sure.
Okay, I'll speak to Jeremy.
I'm here.
Yeah, so I did give Alexandra a bit of a challenge too, since I thought Bill was being too nice. So I did throw that challenge in there, and yeah, so I'll just pause there.
I'm hearing that you also gave Alexandra a bit of a challenge because you felt like Bill was being a little bit too nice.
Yeah, and what she could have done when I interrupted and started talking, she could have said, "Oh, we want to hear what you have to say," but just wait until it's your turn to speak and we'll get back to you. So she could have kind of corrected that at that point. So it would have been something, sort of a strategy to, I think I interrupted like 3 times, 2 or 3 times.
So I'm hearing that instead of what she did do, she could have interrupted and just told you like, hey, like you can share that when you have your turn to speak. And then maybe you would have like stopped the disruptions earlier because you interrupted about like three or so times.
Yeah, sometimes I'll say, I hear you have something really that you want to share. That's great, but let's just wait until it's your turn. And I might even give a quick reflection of what the person said, just to have them know that they're heard, and then kind of correct, just say, oh, then just wait until it's your turn, basically. So.
Right. So like what you would recommend for the facilitator is to kind of maybe just say like, hey, like we'd love to hear what you have to think, but let's just wait till it's your turn. And basically, your turn. And then maybe
it's
a little
just
bit. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's it. Just that that's the essence of it. So yeah, and maybe have a sign that says time or something like that. It kind of helps visually to see it. So I'm using my time in the for my time to speak to kind of mention these things. Yeah.
Right. So what I recall from before was that you also said it would be good for her to reflect back what that person said so they feel heard. But you also think that would be good to maybe have a sign or something that can kind of show them like visually like that's their time is up. And you're also kind of using this time for you to speak to kind of as like a teaching lesson as a way to kind of
exactly. Yeah, and I also have that feeling too, when people disrupt me, it kind of like throws me and I kind of lose my train of thought. So I'm kind of the same too. So I remember she said that too.
So I'm hearing that you also kind of feel like when people just disrupt you, it kind of throws you off, startles you. So you resonate with that feeling as well.
Yep, feel fully heard. Thanks, Jeremy.
Okay, I'm gonna just kind of have some time for Alexandra to get some feedback, and then I see that Andrea is back with us, and then I want to try to give her some time as well. So Alex, how did it feel?
Still flustered from the very beginning. Yeah, because there was so much happening, and me and technology is just a huge distraction. So I definitely recognize that. I think I kind of did well on presenting the empathy circle and how it works and allowing time for any questions for confusion. I think I was just being attentive to that way, because I know sometimes when people just give a list of directions, I forget what was first mentioned. Yeah, I think that would be the pros I can give myself.
Sure. Okay. Edwin, feedback for Alex.
Yeah, I kind of used my turn to give some feedback. It was just, I did interrupt you. I was giving you a challenge. It did seem that you got a little bit flustered there. You just kind of kept rolling, kind of ignoring it. But just a quick, correction would have kind of helped. Your microphone also, sometimes the audio is a little hard to hear. I don't know if you're using it might have to need to hold it.
Yeah, I'm at work, so that's why I keep hearing beeping in my ears, and I don't know what's happening. So it was just all different things. But yes, thank you.
Yeah, it's very warm and caring atmosphere. So that's really on the positive side. That's it.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I felt like you did a really good job to second what Edwin said about just like the vibes were good. I definitely think that you handled the disruption. I think you did try to handle his disruption by like reflecting it back through your speaking. Like maybe it was just a little bit unclear, but I like how you tried to stick to the process in doing that. And then I'd say and you did a good job handling the disruptions overall. Like you didn't really like be super abrupt. I think that something Edwin told me before for the safe space thing is to like say brave space. I don't remember exactly why that is the case, but maybe if you want to elaborate on that, Edwin. Why like you suggested saying it's a brave space for a safe space, but that was one thing that I think people have told me before, And then I think you kind of recovered with the interruption thing, but saying that in the beginning would be good, that you're going to interrupt. It'll make it easier for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Edwin, do you want to say something about that brave space?
Oh, it's a brave space in the sense you can say anything that you want. Like one of the pieces is to feel free to say whatever you want, share any emotion, any feeling. You can even, when it's your turn to speak, you can even be judgmental or whatever. Not that that's good being very empathic, but it is a space for sort of that free speech. So sometimes the safe space means, oh, you have to really control what you say, versus say what you want, you will be heard to your satisfaction, but in return, you have to listen and reflect back what the other person is saying. So I think that the brave space, kind of addresses that, but, it's up, there's no right or wrong in that sense. It's, yeah.
Okay. And Andrea, you were not here, so I'm not including you in the feedback for right now, just so, but I'm not ignoring you. And Alex, yeah, I thought you handled the facilitation. Again, whatever technical issues or whatever things, intervene too soon or too late or whatever like that, can be handled within the context of the warm situation and the way you have a command of the idea. I think at one point in describing the active listener, you did a very good job about not being judgmental, but I think there was something, I apologize because my memory of it wasn't exactly, perfect, but you made some comment about, I'm sorry, but about repeating the exact thing or getting into a little bit deeper into the active listener and stuff. And just then you went on to say, let's not be judgmental or even agreement, stuff like that. I thought that was great. It's a little tricky. And again, my memory is not perfect here. But if sometimes people want you to say the exact words, and sometimes they want you to, not parrot. And so like that, you just wouldn't. And in the empathy circle, people come with different skills. Then and you did miss, the reason I'm too nice, and I get that a lot, is that I want in this thing, and this is my own learning edge, actually, I'm being kind of self-revealing here, is I want you to get a feeling of the empathy circle without the disruption, and then to feel when the disruption comes. Because again, it's not necessarily something you can define, but it is something you can feel. And so that's what I try to do. I try to let it go a little bit and then do a little disruption. And I do err on the side of mildness. And you did miss when I picked up my cat and started, that could be disruptive, even though it was adorable, I know. Yeah,
you didn't even see the cat.
You didn't see it. Okay. That was the thing, is like when I picked her up, I didn't know whether she was going to scratch me. She's very particular about how she likes to be handled. And, but she did like it. So it was good. But that's just something to be aware of, that there can be visual distractions. Now, having said that, I'll try to end quickly, is there are sometimes people have tic disorders in the circle. Or something like that. So you'll see something like, people, and it seems weird. And so if you see it happen in the same way several times, it's usually a tic disorder. Whereas like at one of the disruptions is sometimes I go like, that or something. So just be aware of that sort of thing. But really good. And I'd be very comfortable in a circle with you. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Now I'm sad I missed the cat.
Yeah, she's still here. She's, I don't know if you can see her. There she is.
It was very relaxing to see that. It just seemed kind of warm and cuddly. It was creating a warm and cuddly atmosphere. So
Yeah, but still it could be disruptive, for people. So yeah, it's fine. And you let it go, and it wasn't, and things went on. So again, and that's what I would stress in these sorts of things. There'll always be little things, but you keep the flow going. There's nothing you can't fix. And that's the main thing, not perfection, but, All right, Andrea. How are you doing? Do you feel ready to go? Do you think your internet's up enough?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. Do you have any questions before we start?
No.
Okay, take it away then. And as I remembered, low-level disruptions, and I'll choose. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. To the Empathy Circle, we have 5 participants, and this is a place where we're all going to have a turn to be listened to and to listen to someone. So we are going to have some different roles, but that is very simple. I'll just go through them. We can take the turn of being the speaker. One person will be the active listener whilst the speaker is speaking. After the active listener has had their turn, they will have a turn to speak, and they can choose their listener. And it moves around like this. The speaking times are 3 minutes, and they can be broken up with time for reflection. So I think, are there any questions before we start?
When do you stop speaking? Is there a way to stop speaking before the 3 minutes?
Thanks, Jeremy. That's a great question, and I didn't cover it, so thank you. What I recommend, as I said, we'll have 3 minutes to speak, and the speaker should enable the listener to be able to really actively listen by speaking, saying something, and then pausing and giving time for reflection. If the speaker doesn't feel that they have been heard well enough, they can just repeat what they want to say. Does that help, Jeremy?
Yeah, totally. And how do we communicate to the active listener that we're good for the speaker?
Oh, can you repeat that for me, Jeremy, about being good for the speaker?
Yeah, like what do we say to the active listener when we feel like our turn is up?
Thank you. Thank you so much for helping me with being able to give clarity there. So when you have spoken and the active listener has reflected and fed back, if you feel fully heard, you can say, I feel fully heard. Thank you, Jeremy. At this point, I just want to say this, I will be keeping time, and by holding up my clock, this is a signal that we're coming up to the end of the 3 minutes. Okay. Are there any more questions before we begin? Okay, then I'm going to model being the first speaker, and I think that's right. And I'm going to ask someone, please help me.
Yeah, sure. The facilitator would model the first listening. So you can invite someone else to speak, because that's the trickiest part.
It is, thank you. So I'm the facilitator, and I'd like to model how to be an active listener. And ask for someone, would anyone like to be the first speaker and take a turn, 3-minute turn to speak, and I will be the active listener? Any volunteers, or I'll have to choose someone?
I'll go. I don't, yeah. So, yeah, I'm a little unclear what we're supposed to talk about, but I guess we can just talk about what's going on for us. So I have to think about it. Yeah, I'm really working on my political campaign, so I'm just thinking a lot about that.
So thanks. You're unclear about what to talk about. You've been doing a lot of work on your political campaign, so maybe you'll talk about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. Just starting to launch it and trying to get volunteers. So I invite everyone here to volunteer on it. If you want to join the campaign, we're going to be doing some different topic areas, policing, and then interfaith groups, empathy cafes.
Okay, so I'll just feed back here. You're getting pretty excited about it. You're going to be doing some different things. There'll be something on interfaith and
policing was the other one. Yeah.
In cafes, is that right?
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to well, I've connected with some interfaith people, from churches and whatever, and then we want to bring them into empathy cafes and then bring different, faith-based groups together to talk about how can we bridge the political divides in the country.
Mm-hmm. So it is the thing that I didn't mention was policing, but with the interfaith, you've made some connections with people of different religions, and you want to bring them into empathy cafes and talk about bridging gaps.
Yeah.
Is that the same with the bridging political divides?
Yeah. Exactly, the social and political divides. And with the police, I want to reach out to the local police chief and say, hey, I'd like to do an empathy circle with some police officers on how do we, bridge the divides in the community. And so I'm going to call it empathizing with the police, and then kind of invite them to these circles.
So you're coming up to the end of your time now. Okay. Edwin, but you told me that with the police, you want to reach out to the community with them and see how you can bridge divides. Is that right?
That's it. I feel fully heard, and I love your clock there. That's great.
Well, thank you, Edwin. You've been speaking and you've been heard. So it's actually my turn to be a speaker. Is that right? Yes. Please. Thank you. So I'm going to ask Bill, will you listen to me, please?
Sure.
Okay. Right. So I'm checking myself on the time. I'm thinking quite a bit about time, Bill, and so hence the clock. And I feel if I'm fairly relaxed about time, that helps me a lot. That helps me to, if I'm relaxed and think no hurry, then that takes stress away from me.
So you're thinking about time a lot, and you're very concerned about it, and you realize that if you can kind of drop that concern and be more relaxed, then that helps you actually monitor the time.
Yeah, that's right, Bill. I have to, I think, as well as saying it's a brave place and it's a safe place, which are great, I think it's also, for me, like compassionate place or kind. And, and if I feel like that, then, I'm kind to myself as well about mistakes and stuff.
So you're thinking about reflecting on your facilitation, and you're thinking about whether, if it's a brave space, but it's also a safe place. And then you also added kind and compassionate space. And if you hold those things, then you can also be compassionate towards yourself.
Thank you, Bill. I feel fully heard. It's your turn now.
Okay. All right, I'll talk to Jeremy.
I'm here.
All right. I'm thinking about disruptions and and how to do them and how to introduce them or whatever.
So I'm hearing that you've been kind of thinking about disruptions in different ways that you can introduce them into this circle.
Yeah. And I'm thinking that Andrea was locked out, had a lot of technical problems and things like that. And so I wanted her to kind of get grounded before I started to, mess things up.
So I'm hearing that, Andrea had quite a bit of technical difficulties, and you wanted to make sure that she kind of got grounded before you started disrupting her facilitation.
Yeah, and that's and that's sort of part of what I'm trying to do here is give people experience in my disruptions, imperfectly as it is, of that sort of feeling edge, I'll call it, between when you're in the circle process and when you go out of it.
Okay, so I'm hearing that you're trying to kind of teach us how to walk this line between and really feel the difference between when we're going in the process smoothly and when there's these disruptions that take us outside of the process.
Right. And so, yeah, and not teach, I would correct, is to give you the experience. I don't want to directly teach it. Each person has a feeling of the circle that's unique to them, and then also feels when it's out of it. And that is a commonality, but I'm trying to create the feeling of it rather than a direct teaching.
Okay, so correction, you're trying to kind of give us an opportunity to...
Please, and then it's the end of Bill's turn. Thank you.
So you're trying to basically give us this opportunity to experience basically what the process looks like when it's going smoothly versus when it's not, instead of directly teaching us about it, just kind of indirectly giving us the experience.
Right. Something that I'm starting to call the feeling edge.
Yeah, something that you're starting to call, the feeling edge.
Yeah. And so now my first disruption is that I'm not going to stop talking till Andrea intervenes.
So now your first disruption is basically that you're just going to keep talking until the facilitator tells you to stop.
So much. If you can remember, I said when I hold up my clock, that's a sign to complete what you're saying and make sure that you feel fully heard, and then stop, because we have to be fair and give everyone a fair chance. Is that okay with everyone?
Sure, that's great. Thank you, Andrea. I feel fully heard. Thank you, Jeremy.
Of course, thank you. So I guess it's my turn to speak. I just kind of want to ironically say that I like what Bill said about this feeling edge, but I just want to go on a tangent about that clock because I love that clock. I think I need to get one of those. Oh, sorry, I need to pick someone to, does anyone want to be my active listener? Alexandra, maybe?
Yes, I'm ready to listen.
Great, yeah, so I love this clock and I definitely want to get one of those or some sort of cool object that represents the time.
Yeah, so you really enjoyed and admire Andrea's clock and you want one.
Yeah, I also really feel like Andrea does a really good job of making us feel very comfortable with the process, and she's very direct, but also very warm and kind. So I appreciate that.
So you feel that Andrea is very welcoming and very direct, but I'm sorry, can you repeat the last part?
Yeah, she's doing a good job of being direct, but also warm and kind. And so I feel like I appreciate the way that she's running the circle.
Oh, the warm and kind part. So you appreciate how she's also warm and kind and how she directs the circle.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm pretty distracted right now. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit confused. I think I don't really remember what I was gonna say.
So it sounds like you lost your train of thought because you're pretty distracted right now.
Yeah. I think maybe I need to go do some yoga or something after this and just kind of like get more grounded than I currently am.
So you would like to do some yoga after this to get grounded than what you're currently feeling right now?
Yeah. But I don't know if I have time. So there's always that. Time is just going.
Okay, so to end with it, because I see Andrea has her clock up, is that you don't know if you have more time to talk.
Yeah, thank you. I feel fully heard.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Alexandra. Just before you take your turn to speak, after being such a great listener, I just want to say that Edwin sent a message saying that we have about 9 minutes left. So I'd like us to just go round the circle, each taking a few seconds to let me know how you'd like to, if you'd like us now to close and round up complete, or if you'd like Alexandra to have a turn. So Alexandra, what would you like to do? Do you want to take a turn, or do you want us to go round and recap before before we go back into the main, everyone else comes in?
I'll take a turn. Yeah.
Okay, off you go then. It's your turn to speak. Who's the listener, dear?
Okay. Bill, since you have lots of energy, would you like to be my listener?
Ready to go.
Oh, thanks. Okay, so while I was listening to Jeremy, I felt a little distracted, but also you made me focus a little bit more.
So while you're listening to Jeremy, you were distracted, but also you focused at the same time.
Yes. And something that is very alive for me today is having some attention focus issues. I was able to kind of drive my attention more towards him, but then also I was still very conflicted with my feelings on where to go and what to focus on. So
by my distractions, it set up basically an inner imperative in you to focus more on Jeremy. But nevertheless, you were just kind of wondering what's going on here. You know, you were still dealing with the distraction.
Yeah. Yes, pretty much. And then I had my own racing thoughts of, okay, what should I do? What's happening? So I just felt very overwhelmed.
Okay. So you felt overwhelmed, probably because of my athletic prowess.
Yeah. But you had great form with your jumping jacks, so I appreciated that. And something that I wanted to kind of end with is that I'm very humbled and grateful for these empathy circles to be able to interact with others and share common or shared feelings with other people.
Yeah. So, despite the distractions and everything else going on, you feel humbled and really appreciative of these empathy circles because of, the way you're able to kind of connect with other people.
Yes, correct. Thank you, Bill. I feel fully heard.
Okay. Well, we'll take the time now so we have a time to debrief. And I think, Andrea, are you on your phone?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So that's what happened. Because I was creating a big visual distraction. And because I wasn't making noise, you didn't see me. So I was doing jumping jacks for about, I almost had a heart attack, Andrea. I hope.
Well, the universe told me to stay on my phone, just stay on that screen, and then it caused my own distraction with a power shortage. So
right. No, but while this last one, while Jeremy was talking to Alexandra, I was doing jumping jacks.
I hear what you saying.
Right.
I know what you're saying.
Right. So the point is that would probably, as soon as something that big happens, it would be good to intervene quickly. You know, say you can say, one of the things you can say is like, you know, oh, you need to move around or something. Could you turn off your video? You could send it to me in the chat. You know, yeah, go ahead.
So therefore, I have to make sure that I can see as many, if I'm on my phone, well, I can't, because I can't slide across, I can't see.
Right, no, I understand that. That's what I figured. It was a pretty big distraction. So I assumed that you were on your phone, and if you're on your phone, you can't always see everybody at the same time. So that
I need to get on with getting this working, you know, properly, and getting the Zoom and everything. So you know, it's a lesson for me there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we only have about 4 minutes or so here. I just want to get some feedback for you. First of all, Andrea, how did it feel for you? What were you?
I liked it, but that's me. I enjoyed it.
Okay. Great. All right, Edwin.
In terms of the spirit, I can feel, Andrea, that you enjoy it, and everybody here, I have that sense too, sort of enjoying the process. And when you have that enjoyment, it just sets an atmosphere that I enjoy too, because you're enjoying it. I can feel it, so I kind of enjoy it, even if with the instructions, sometimes everything's not covered. But if they're having fun, you kind of, that's great. Yeah, there is the thing is it is hard to facilitate on a phone because you can't see everyone. So it's a little bit harder to facilitate. So it's always good to, have a computer for that. Though I think you forgot to set the topic. There was no topic set. So we're a little it wasn't clear what we were talking about. So it's whatever the topic was, or then saying whatever's alive for you. But yeah, it's just a learning process, and the more you do it, the better you get. And just, I appreciate your enthusiasm. So
it might take me longer.
Okay. Jeremy.
Yeah, I felt like very comfortable with you facilitating, just like really good energy. And I think that's probably the most important thing, like Edwin said, made us have a good experience overall. I definitely would say that it would be good to mention at the beginning that you might have to interrupt people if they're like rambling on too long when they're speaking, or if they like go past the time, because it might make it easier for you to do that. But overall, I had a good experience.
Good. Alex?
Yeah, so I thought you gave very detailed instructions in the beginning, and you were very inviting, and the room remained very inviting and welcoming. I didn't feel any judgment whatsoever what was happening, so it was a very welcoming environment. I do want to say one thing with your detailed instructions, because I have a focused attention disorder, it was really hard for me to stay on track with what you were saying at the time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Andrea, I thought that a couple things, you asked for questions, and it was good, and Jeremy had a question, but there's no rule about it, but I would probably move on fairly quickly. In other words, don't get bogged down in questions. It's something that happens to all of us all the time. You get down in the question, and they're good questions, but it also kind of distracts us from getting on process. I felt very comfortable with you. I felt that, you really care about the participants, and really liked your energy. So,
Thank you.
All right, we're back in the big room.
Thanks, everyone.
So
2 seconds, everyone will be back.
This meeting is being recorded.
Where's Swan? Where'd she go? Where'd she go?
There she is.
And here's some typing. If maybe you might want to mute that. Tanya, are you ready to call on folks? And you're muted.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Okay. All right. During this time, I'm going to go around and ask how this part of the process was for you guys, what your experience was like, and if you learned anything. You'll have 30 seconds to a minute to share that. I'm going to, I have a list of everyone who's here. So, Valerie,
Yeah,
you up
hi.
first.
Hello. I wanted to share that I had a very small group. It was Faith and Larry, and just amazing human beings. Just a really beautiful experience. Larry, thank you so much. I'm so blessed to have you as my trainer. That was really nice. And Faith, it made it very, very easy to sort of launch into this. Yeah, I'm kind of gushing, I guess. I don't really have a lot of other words. I apologize. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Elizabeth?
I also would just like to say thank you. I had a wonderful group, really instructive. I feel like I learned a lot. I hope I can put it into practice with Lou and Dwayne and Kara. Their skill is very impressive, and you've all experienced now how difficult being a facilitator can be, and they just make it seem easy. But thank you so much.
Kara?
Takeaways. Yeah, it was a really fantastic experience. We got to see some low to mid-level challenges, and that was really helpful so that we can anticipate those ourselves and come up with what we want to say in advance. That's just really nice experience to have under our belt. So I appreciate it.
Dorothy?
I had a wonderful session with Serene, Corinne, and Hannah, where we did some challenges. We were able to go through the process, and it was nice to hear different strategies also with some of the challenges that we brought up in our group. So I really loved our session. Thank you.
Good. Speaking of Hannah?
I completely agree with Dorothy. It was a really, really great circle, and I really enjoyed it. And I guess what I'm taking away from it is a bit more faith in myself, and yeah, just this calm feeling that, okay, I can do this. So thank you.
Mitch?
No, it's outside the steps.
I'm sorry.
Mitch, we can't hear you.
There you go. Mitch, you're on silent. You're muted. We can't hear you.
Sounds.
He's
unmuted now, but
It's
we're still
sounded
not hearing
off.
him. Yeah. You got a problem with your
We
mic.
still can't hear you. We're going to come back to you, Mitch. You have a problem with your audio. We can't hear you. Faith, could someone send Mitch a message?
Yeah. So I was in the room with Valerie and Larry, and we had a really, really good session. Great. I learned a lot. That's the one thing I'm learning about these sessions is that it's not only about the facilitation and learning in so much ways. There are so many about things about that, but in terms of some of the topics that we're discussing, for example, Valerie spoke about.
Thank you. I had a reboot. Thanks.
Yeah, so Valerie was speaking about the history behind music, and that music was initially seen as science, and then until it was it was changed into seeing more of the arts, and so that was really enlightening for me. So I'm learning something new there. But again, it was a great interaction. Larry, of course, always a great facilitator and teacher. I appreciate you, and Valerie, again, continue the great work that you're doing.
Thank you. Back to you, Mitch.
He's gone at the moment.
Oh, he's going again?
Yeah.
Okay. Jeremy?
Yeah, hi, thank you. Yeah, it was a great group. I was with Edwin, Bill, Andrea, and Alexandra. And yeah, I feel like I learned a little bit about what Bill was calling this like edge, or this like feeling of running the empathy circle, and how it goes smoothly within the process, and how disruptions can kind of take you outside of that, and just kind of noticing what that feels like. Overall, I started off a bit nervous, but I feel like after doing my round of facilitating and getting feedback, I felt a lot more reassured, which was great. And one thing that I learned that was really useful was just trying to, if someone's interrupting, like trying to kind of stick to the process and like reflect that in my speaking, and then have the person who's listening to me like reflect that back again, what Edwin was calling like a double reflection. So I felt like that was a good tool. Yeah.
Thank you. Karen?
Yes, that was really interesting in a session because we just realized that we are sharing the same concerns in a way. And thanks to Celine, she gave us some precious advice. And yes, I want to learn more about trauma-informed facilitation. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Tracy?
Hi. Yeah, what I learned from last week is I was more prepared this week, and I had like a practiced a script, and that really helped me because trying to remember everything and in the right order, but a script really helped me. And yeah, I enjoyed the session. I felt more confident today delivering it. So practice, practice, practice. Thank you. I'm complete.
Thank you. Arlene?
Well, I have to say I was in the most wonderful group today, and Catherine and Isa and Ralph were all beautiful. The acting facilitators, which were Kathy and Isa, I think they did a beautiful job presenting what they had to and facilitating so beautifully. And Ralph just pulled everything together. He's just amazing. And we had a little hug going on only because we felt really connected. But I just think everybody did a beautiful job, and I was happy to be there. And I'm not, practicing to be a facilitator, but Ralph was trying to encourage me to be. So, but I had a great time today. It was wonderful.
Thank you. Claire? Is Claire still here?
Claire's muted. Claire, could you unmute?
Claire, can you unmute?
Sorry, I was trying to unmute. It took me all that time. My apology. Yes, it was. It felt like a very active time today with all the challenges. And yeah, I feel like I've learned loads. I've come away with lots of great tips. Yeah, so and you know, it gave me lots to think about. So yeah, so thank you to my group. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Andrea?
Hi. I didn't mean to rise up over all the obstacles so well, but I just did because I kept my phone on so that I could just see who the person that was speaking. I thought that because when I was being the facilitator, and that, you know, that wasn't really a good move as the facilitator, because all sorts was happening, like lots of exercises and things silently, and I didn't know. And so Alexandra was very flustered, and I thought it was just all the captions. So it was fun, and I learned that I'll be better to get my computer working. I'll have a bigger picture then. But it was good.
Thank you. Thank you. Catherine?
Hi, yes. I would love to add to what Arlene was saying. I was in a group with her and Isa and Ralph, and it was just a beautiful time. I think it added some additional dimensions to empathy circles that I hadn't experienced or considered yet. Throwing in the challenges and thinking about just that word challenge can bring about all sorts of things for people, anxiety or whatever. But I feel like what happened is using the process to kind of dance with empathy and bring empathy even to the challenges was a wonderful thing to witness and behold. And I love some of Ralph's kind of ad lib quotes and referrals to things that really enriched it. And one of those was anytime we can help someone by finding their freedom is a miracle. And I feel like empathy and listening is really a great example of that. So it was a great experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Trevor?
Yes,
Trevor,
I feel like every time I participate, especially in the training, I pick up something new, and I'm able to use it the next week to practice. Got some really good feedback, and so I'm looking forward to next week to put that into practice. Any group that I do will be doing this week. Thanks.
Thank you. Alexandra?
Hi. Yeah, I found the session to be very insightful. There was lots of experiences that I could practice going into the future, especially when it comes to challenges and distractions on both the speaker and listeners, but also on the facilitation side on what we could do. So I found this session in particular to be a lot more helpful than something that I can carry on for the next one.
Thank you. If I mispronounce your name, please correct me. Swan?
Yes, thank you. I think you said that correctly. Thank you. We had a very busy time today. going through everyone's practicing of their facilitation and their challenge. So I was very busy, and I did get to learn a few points here that I didn't know about. So I appreciate the ability or opportunity to learn. And I guess it's very nice to be in an environment where we are encouraged that we can make mistakes, and it's a learning environment. So I really appreciate that. So that's all.
Thank you. Isa?
I really feel like it was a very special circle because there was so much movement. I mean, it was kind of palpable feeling of dancing, really, and creativity and rejuvenation also. Kind of the feeling of someone speaking from a place of feeling a lot of joy and feeling young and feeling grateful for everything that's going on, and being able to incorporate empathy in hiccups, let's just say. So like really being very present with what's alive. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Did I get everyone? Did I miss anybody?
Mitch is back.
Mitch.
Mitch.
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about the technical issues. Today, I enjoyed today's session. I was a lot more relaxed than last week. Learned more, especially about technical issues. Anne was our facilitator, and she gave me some hints on if the frame freezes or my voice freezes, some things I could do. And she was good in her challenges. I didn't ask for any. I was a chicken, but she gave some to the others. She should be on the stage. She's quite good at her challenges. So it was learning a lot about how to handle those, and the technical issues also are important because of the video and audio challenges we face. So thank you.
Thank you, Mitch. Do we have time for the trainees, Dwayne?
Yeah, we do. We have about 7 minutes. So yeah, trainings would be good.
Okay. Dwayne?
I had a really enjoyable experience today. It's always a pleasure to be in a group with Lou. He provided me with challenges, even though I didn't ask for them. So thank you, Lou. And I also enjoyed being in the group with Elizabeth and Kara as well. It was like being in a group of people who, everyone had high-level facilitation skills. So it was a really interesting experience. I had an opportunity to learn a lot from the other people in the group. And then the other thing is, the last thing I'd like to say is, did anybody watch the Super Bowl? I think the Rams won on a last-minute drive, but I'm not certain. But anyways, I hope everyone else has an enjoyable rest of their day.
Thank you, Dwayne. Linda?
It was a good group. It was interesting, a lot of questions, things we don't think about that can come up. So it was a good group.
Thank you, Linda. Are there any more trainers outside of myself before I go? Ralph?
I didn't have a chance earlier to publicly apologize to my buddy whom I never connected with, but jag ber om ursäkt.
Oh wow, I'm
Got it.
impressed. Thank you. Although Swedish isn't my first language either, so.
Okay. This
Thank
thing,
you.
this thing really works. And it was hard to give challenges, because there was just this Vesuvius of unconditional love and honesty. And the challenge was for everyone how to balance. I mean, somebody was in the middle of sharing their heart, and so we had the good sense to go overtime. And so I don't think I had any rules or specific feedback for that, but to say that this is a wonderful creation. We need to stick to the process, and the process leads to this freedom, expression of unconditional love. So it was fine, and everyone, including Arlene, could go out into the world and facilitate. And God knows we need more of that.
Thanks, Ralph. As for myself, I was super duper anxious today. I have no idea why, but I was extremely anxious today. But I got a hard challenge. I asked for a hard challenge, and I got a pretty hard challenge. And I wanted to be challenged with dealing with aggressive people, and did her best to be aggressive, but she was pretty aggressive, in my opinion, anyway. So I was glad that I was able to have that experience here, so I can learn how to deal with aggressive people. I don't do too well with them. I'm more of a, okay, listen, I don't have time for that. The door is right there. Goodbye, bye. So, so that's not very empathetic at all. So I was glad they had the challenge. Okay, now, did I leave anyone out? Is that everyone? Okay, who am I turning it over to, Edwin?
Ralph, I think. No, who is it? Yeah, Ralph.
Ralph? Now I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you very much. This script asks for final trainer comments. Do you want me to invite them now?
Yeah, I'll give a comment. So I just put a link to the Empathy Circle schedule. So there's a bunch of different circles happening during the week, and you can. Bill has one. Larry's holding some. Lou has a support group meeting, and then on Saturdays, I'm holding one as well for the political campaign. So I put in the link there to the schedule. You can see the schedule. So you're welcome to come to any of those and practice, as well as help facilitate them. So it'd be great to see you there. And also the Saturday group has been an intro to the training, and it's now becoming an intro to the my political campaign for Congress. So I hope you'll come to that and support that. I'm here to recruit you. So as to become volunteers in the campaign, we're going to be doing empathy. The campaign is centered around the Empathy Circle. So we're going to be reaching out to different communities and holding empathy circles with those communities. So I hope you'll come take on a role as a volunteer. And it's a really good way to practice your skills, and also really to take this, what we're doing here, to take it into the political national discussion, because I think it's really important that we have a voice for this empathy movement at a larger scale, to influence the polarization that's happening in the country, and really address it with the Empathy Circle and other empathy building practices. So with that, that's it for me. Thanks, Ralph.
Edwin, they're saying though that the links posted in the chat that you posted in the chat are not working.
Oh, they're not. Okay.
But one of them is the schedule link.
Is working or not working?
Is not working.
Okay, let me check that.
Sorry, Ralph.
No, that's a good catch from one of Edwin's campaign managers. So to go over what we did in this wonderful session, we practiced the Empathy Circle process, giving instructions on how to participate. Everybody who wanted to could ask for a challenge, and get it. And apparently, even if you didn't want it, you got it. We debriefed the experience at the end of the Empathy Circle, which was very rich in our groups. What's coming up next week? Again, we're going to practice without the how-to, and you can ask for challenges. And so assignments, sometimes called homework, but they're really home play. Number 1, reminder, please fill out the session feedback survey. Link is in the chat. 2, hold empathy buddy calls, and you'll be paired up with a new empathy buddy. And 3, try to facilitate an empathy circle with family, friends, cashiers, whoever you run into. Please now post one feeling that you have now as a result of being here today. And we'll take a few seconds to do that before we do our infamous jazz hands. Oh. And so this gratitude for you all, released, excited. I liked jazzed. Oh, jazzed, delight, maybe missing a couple. Nice. Gratitude for all of you. Did I say that? Safe, jazzed, flowy, relaxed, reassured, appreciation, hopeful, relaxed, gratitude, calm. That's about it. I would say exaltation. I can't seem to rejuvenated, encourage. And you who have been released into the wild or whatever, fantastic. So jazz hands.
Bye, everyone. See you next time.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Have a good week.
Thank you.